All right, we're back in the home gym here, and I'm sorry it's a little dark. If I turn that light on right there, it's just blinding and it just makes the camera terrible. So you'll recall, I may turn it on for parts here if I'm not looking up. You'll recall that I built a lat pull down system that spanned across the rack using two of these safety spotter arms with the eye bolts in them. There's a video on that. Well, I decided that I wanted to renovate that a little bit because I had started using this setup, which is my belt squat, and that required me every time to move between having the arm mounted up top, which I have to take these handles off to do because they'll hit the ceiling if not. So I take the handles off, put it up there, set everything up for the lat pull, do my lat pulls, then take it all back down and put the handles on it because I use belt squats every day as part of my warm-up and mobility because I'm trying to rehab my knee. So I always leave this setup at the end, but I got tired of swapping back and forth. I wanted a more stationary solution that would free up these arms to just stay all the time doing other things. So here's my cheap but good solution to that. What's up here is two 2x4s from just the local big box store, 8-footers that I cut to the length that I wanted. I liked on this Rogue rack, it's an RML 390F, I liked 77 inches between the center, between that bolt and the other bolt. And I just left a few inches on the end for support, and also on that side so that the golf ball has a place to stop. So it's probably, I don't recall exactly, something like 83 inches or something. Anyway, so what this is you've got two 2x4s that are spaced here. And the way they're spaced is I've got a third 1-inch board that is not the full 3.5, because 2x4s are 1.5 by 3.5, right? So this is 3.5 tall. I have a shorter 1-inch wide by probably 1.5, 2-inch tall strip that goes between them in the bottom. And then again, I'm sorry for the darkness. If I turn that light on, it's just brutal. You can see these, there's a bolt here and there's two more that sandwich all of this together. So there's a center spacer board, and then these bolts clamp everything together. So this is basically one big unit with two cutouts in the center, and then there's a channel. Let me see if I can get this on camera. Yeah. There's a channel in the center here. Can I turn my light on? Yeah, look at that. There's a channel where the cable rides. Can you see? So you can see where there's a board underneath there that starts right there, but it's low enough the cable doesn't touch it. So the cable runs in this channel, and then you've got the pulleys. Now you'll notice these aren't tight, right? Where the pulleys are has slack in it because you want this pulley to spin easily. You don't want it to be bound up, and if you clamp it, it's going to be bound up. Now those other three bolts are tight. They're very tight. So this is all one unit. So if we think about the physics of this, right? You have force from the weight pulling down here. You have force from the lat attachment pulling, you're pulling down here. So that means that the highest stress point is going to be in the center of the beam. That's why I wanted to run that spacer in the center. The spacer does two things. One, it allows for the slack. It allows for the board to get pulled together tight, but it also allows looseness where the pulleys are so they don't bind. And then two, this is all basically 4x4 as far as the thickness of it, because it's through bolted and it's tight. So it's got a tremendous amount of load carrying capacity in the center here. And this is real cheap. You just, you can do this real easy. And then the one other thing I just wanted to touch on was I made these brackets. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this. You could just sit it up on the top of the power rack, and it's not really going to move anywhere. But I made these little brackets out of some scrap aluminum that I had, and I just bent them at a 90-degree angle and drilled a 5/8 hole right here. And all these do is just locate the arm. So they allow me to put it in the same hole on this side as that side, so it's all straight and it stays straight and it doesn't move side to side at all. The other nice thing is now, when my safety spotter arms are not in use, they get to live up here. So I just shove the pin in that side, rotate it up, and then run the hitch pin in, and that is here holding up the arm, and then on the other side it's through the bracket that's locating the lat pull thing. And so those get to store up out of the way. They're not in the floor and making a bunch of, it makes things cleaner looking. So there's a few advantages to this setup. For one, if you don't have spotter arms to begin with, just do this. This is cheap. Now you got to make your own cable, but we talked about that in the last video. You're gonna have to do that regardless, or buy rope. I think if I was doing this again, I might have done rope. Anyway, the advantage is, one's really inexpensive. A couple 2x4s, 2x4x8s are, if you get the nice ones, they're $7 a piece or something. And then you just spray paint them black, a little cheap $2 can of spray paint. And the other nice thing about this setup is, hold on, this lighting is terrible. The other nice thing about this setup is that it gets the cables up very high. So if you're in an area where you have a short ceiling like I do, I have just 8-foot ceilings, this arrangement allows the cable to run over top of the whole apparatus, versus if you have the pulleys hanging. Like before, I had the arm that came out and then the pulley hung down below it in its cage, and it had a swivel cage. Well, that means my starting point for the highest point in which I can extend my arms and get a lat stretch at the top was dictated by how high that pulley could be relative to how tall I am sitting on the bench. With this arrangement, it bought me a few more inches, and then you just adjust the final overall length of the cable system by using a chain. So the loading pin is attached with a chain, and then you just hook your carabiner on whatever link you need to make this piece whatever starting height that you want. And so, the cable runs over there, it drops down. There's a loading pin here with a height adjustment on the chain, and that allows you to either start it really, really high so you can have a big lat stretch, or you could start it, here in the middle and do lat pull downs or whatever you want, or tricep extensions or something like that. So anyway, those are the advantages. It gets it up over the top. It stays up there all the time, so it's ready to go at any moment. All I have to do is set the loading pin up and clip it in, and it also gave me the use of my spotter arms back.